From one of the most feared men in boxing history to a smiling, grill-selling, born-again preacher. This is the story of George Foreman, the man who reinvented himself and left a legacy bigger than the ring. Born in 1949 in Marshall, Texas, George Foreman had a tough childhood. But by 1968, he was an Olympic gold medalist. By the early 70s, a heavyweight wrecking machine, 40 wins, 37 knockouts, including a brutal win over Joe Frazier to become the heavyweight champion of the world. He was known for his power, his punches, devastating, his presence, intimidating. George Foreman wasn't just fighting opponents, he was annihilating them. Then came 1974, the Rumble in the Jungle, Muhammad Ali versus George Foreman. Ali's rope-a-dope strategy outsmarted the powerhouse. Foreman was knocked out in the 8th round, his first loss. It shattered him. What followed was even darker. Foreman spiraled. Fame and fortune didn't bring peace. But then, in 1977, after a loss to Jimmy Young, Foreman had a near-death spiritual experience. In the locker room, he collapsed and said he met God. George Foreman walked away from boxing. He became a Christian minister, opened a youth center, and dedicated his life to helping others. But money troubles pulled him back into the ring in the late 80s, not for glory, but for stability. At 38, he was back, older, heavier, smiling. People laughed. But in 1994, at 45 years old, George Foreman did the impossible. He knocked out 26-year-old Michael Moorer and became the oldest heavyweight champion ever. 20 years after losing his title, George Foreman reclaimed it not with anger, but with faith and calm. His comeback wasn't just physical, it was spiritual, emotional, and inspirational. Then came something no one saw coming, the George Foreman Grill. A $200+ million empire. He became more than a fighter. He became a brand. A father figure. A household name. He wasn't just punching opponents anymore, he was changing the game for retired athletes, proving you can thrive after the spotlight fades. George Foreman's story is about transformation. From rage to redemption. From warrior to mentor. He showed us that it's never too late to change your life, to start again, to win not just titles, but hearts. He's more than a boxer. He's a preacher, a businessman, a father of 12, a living legend. George Foreman wasn't just a champion in the ring, he became a giant outside of it. From throwing punches to closing deals, he turned his name into a brand and his story into a business empire. He showed the world that your second act can be even greater than your first, that the fighter in you doesn't retire. It just evolves. From boxer to businessman. From heavyweight champ to cultural icon, George Foreman is proof. Greatness isn't just about what you do, it's about who you become.